A pizza delivery driver refused payment from a stressed college student. Hours later, his phone rang with shocking news. Marcus Reed adjusted his cap as he stepped into the bustling campus cafeteria, the familiar scents of burnt coffee and greasy fries wafting through the air. It was a typical Thursday afternoon, and students crowded the tables, their conversations a chaotic blend of laughter and stress. Finals week loomed ahead, casting a shadow over the usually vibrant atmosphere. Marcus navigated through the throng, his thoughts consumed by the mountain of assignments waiting for him at home. He glanced at his phone, the screen lighting up with a notification. A delivery order had just come in from Rachel Thompson, a fellow student known for her academic prowess and the social circles she moved in. The thought of her name made Marcus feel a twinge of anxiety. It wasn't that he disliked Rachel, far from it. She was smart and kind, but her world felt so far removed from his own. He reminded himself that he needed the money. He had bills to pay, groceries to buy, and a younger brother to support. "Marcus, you got another delivery?" shouted Steve, his co-worker, as he leaned against the counter. "Yeah," Marcus replied, forcing a smile. "Just a quick drop-off." "Good luck. I hear she's been pulling all-nighters again," Steve said with a knowing nod. "Watch out for the chaos." Marcus chuckled, the sound a bit hollow. "I'll be fine. Just pizza." He grabbed the insulated bag and headed out, feeling the weight of his responsibilities settle on his shoulders. As he made his way to Rachel's apartment, he replayed their interactions in his mind. She had always seemed so put together, exuding confidence that Marcus envied. But lately, he had noticed her stress manifesting in ways that made him worry. Her usual bright smile had been replaced with a furrowed brow and tired eyes. He wondered if she felt the same pressure he did, balancing school, work, and the expectations that came with being a college student. He parked his car and grabbed the pizza, taking a deep breath before climbing the stairs to her floor. The sound of classical music floated through the hallway, a stark contrast to the chaos in his mind. He knocked on her door, and it swung open almost immediately. "Marcus, thank you for coming," Rachel exclaimed, her voice tinged with relief. She stood in the doorway, surrounded by a sea of textbooks, papers, and empty coffee cups, her hair in a messy bun. "Hey, Rachel, here's your pizza," Marcus said, trying to keep his tone light. Her eyes darted to the pizza box, and for a moment, he saw a flicker of joy on her face. But it quickly faded, replaced by a look of frustration. "Oh no, I'm so sorry, but I left my wallet at home. Can you—" "Rachel, I really need the money," Marcus interrupted, his heart sinking. The last thing he wanted was to be the bad guy, but he had bills piling up and couldn't afford to give away pizza. "I understand," she said, her voice wavering. "I've just had the worst day. I need this pizza to keep me going. I promise I'll pay you back as soon as I can." He could see the desperation in her eyes, the way her shoulders slumped under the weight of her stress. Marcus felt a pang of empathy. He remembered the long nights he had spent studying, and how food sometimes felt like the only comfort in the chaos. "Look, I'll make you a deal," he said, hesitating. "You can take the pizza this time, and just pay me back when you can. No big deal." Rachel's face lit up, and she looked genuinely grateful. "Thank you so much, Marcus. You have no idea how much this means to me." As she took the pizza, he felt a sense of relief mixed with a twinge of regret. He hoped he wouldn't regret this later when he checked his bank account. "Just remember, I'm counting on that payment," he said, trying to inject some levity into the moment. "Absolutely," she replied, her smile brightening the dimly lit room. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to get back to this thesis. I'll owe you one." Marcus nodded and turned to leave, feeling a strange mix of satisfaction and concern. As he walked back to his car, he couldn't shake the feeling that he had crossed a line, but he pushed it aside. He had done a good thing, helping someone in need, and he needed to focus on his own studies. The drive home was a blur of thoughts. He had a biology exam coming up and a project due for his history class. He couldn't afford to fall behind, especially with his brother depending on him. The weight of responsibility pressed down on him, making it difficult to concentrate on the road. Once he arrived home, he dropped his bag on the kitchen table and pulled out his laptop. As he settled in for a night of studying, his phone buzzed with a notification, a text from his mother. "Marcus, I just heard from your brother's school. He got into a fight today. Can you talk to him?" His heart sank. His younger brother, Jamal, had been struggling lately, and Marcus had been trying to be a stable presence in his life. "Yeah, I'll call him," he typed back, feeling a sense of dread creep into his chest. As he dialed Jamal's number, he felt the weight of the day settling heavily on his shoulders. The phone rang, and after a few moments, his brother picked up. "Hey, Marcus," Jamal said, his voice low. "Hey, man. What's going on? Mom said you got into a fight?" "It was nothing. Just some stupid argument," Jamal replied, but Marcus could hear the frustration in his voice. "You know I'm here for you, right? You can talk to me," Marcus reassured him, hoping to break through the wall Jamal had built around himself. "Yeah, I know, I don't know. Things have been rough," Jamal admitted, his voice cracking slightly. "Sometimes I feel like no one gets it." Marcus felt a surge of compassion for his brother. "I get it, Jamal. I'm here. Just focus on school and stay out of trouble, okay? I'll help you with anything you need." "Thanks, Marcus. I appreciate it," Jamal said, a hint of warmth returning to his voice. After hanging up, Marcus returned to his studies, but his mind was racing. He couldn't shake the feeling that he was losing touch with Jamal, and it scared him. As he flipped through his notes, he suddenly felt exhausted and overwhelmed. Hours passed as he tried to focus on his work, but the stress of finals and his brother's troubles weighed heavily on him. Finally, he decided to take a break and check his phone. To his surprise, he had a missed call from an unknown number. He hesitated, but decided to call back, curious about who it could be. "Hello?" a voice on the other end said, sounding rushed and serious. "Hi, this is Marcus Reed. I got a missed call from this number." "Mr. Reed, this is the emergency room at Riverside Hospital. I'm calling about your brother, Jamal." Marcus felt his heart drop. "What happened? Is he okay?" "Please come to the hospital as soon as possible. There's been an incident," the nurse said, her tone grave. Panic surged through Marcus as he dropped his phone. He raced out the door, a whirlwind of fear and adrenaline propelling him forward. His mind raced with worst-case scenarios as he drove through the darkening streets toward the hospital. Arriving at Riverside Hospital, Marcus parked hurriedly and sprinted through the entrance, his pulse pounding in his ears. The sterile smell of antiseptic filled the air as he approached the reception desk, breathless and frantic. "Excuse me, I'm looking for my brother, Jamal Reed. I was told to come here," he gasped. The receptionist looked up, her expression serious. "Please take a seat. A doctor will be with you shortly." Marcus felt the walls closing in on him as he paced the waiting area. Each passing moment felt like an eternity. He thought about Rachel, her gratefulness for the pizza, and the strange twist of fate that had led him here. After what felt like hours, a doctor approached him, her face sympathetic. "Mr. Reed, I'm Dr. Harris. Your brother was involved in an accident, but he's stable now. He's in surgery, but We expect a full recovery." Relief washed over Marcus, but the weight of his earlier worries crashed back down. "What happened?" he asked, his voice trembling. "There was a fight at school, and he was injured. But the quick response from the paramedics likely saved his life," Dr. Harris explained. Suddenly, a familiar face appeared in the hallway, and Marcus's heart skipped a beat. It was Rachel, wearing scrubs, her expression concerned as she rushed toward him. "Marcus, I heard about Jamal. Is he okay?" Marcus was taken aback. "Rachel, you're a paramedic?" She nodded, her features earnest. "I was volunteering at the hospital tonight. I was one of the first responders on the scene. Your brother was in a bad way, but he's going to be okay." Marcus felt a mix of gratitude and confusion. The girl he had helped earlier was now intertwined with his brother's fate. Marcus felt a surge of gratitude wash over him, mingling with the lingering fear that had gripped him just moments ago. "Thank you, Rachel." "I didn't know you were doing this kind of work," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Rachel's eyes softened as she took a step closer. "I know it's a lot to process, but your brother was in the right place. We managed to stabilize him before we brought him here. He's a fighter." A wave of relief washed over Marcus, but it was quickly overshadowed by a whirlwind of emotions. The realization that Rachel had been in the right place at the right time, helping his brother, felt surreal. "I can't believe it. I just saw you a few hours ago, and now you're here, saving lives." "Just doing my part," Rachel replied, her tone humble. "I'm really glad I was there." They stood together in the sterile hallway, the sounds of bustling nurses and distant beeping machines creating a strange comfort. Marcus could see the determination in Rachel's eyes, a fierce resolve that reminded him of his own struggles. "Is Jamal going to be okay?" he asked, his heart still racing. The doctor rejoined them, nodding. "Yes, we expect him to recover fully, but he'll need time. The injury was serious, but fortunately the swift action taken by the paramedics made a significant difference." Marcus felt his knees weaken, and he leaned against the wall for support. "I don't know what I would have done if something had happened to him." Rachel placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "He's going to be all right. You're here for him now, and that's what matters." Just then, the waiting room door swung open, and a nurse stepped out. "Marcus Reed?" Marcus straightened up, his heart pounding in his chest. "Yes, that's me. Your brother is out of surgery and in recovery. You can see him shortly, but he's still groggy from the anesthesia," she said, leading him toward the recovery room. As they walked through the hospital's labyrinthine corridors, Marcus couldn't help but think about how interconnected their lives were. How a simple act of kindness, giving Rachel a pizza, had led him to this moment. He was grateful, yes, but also bewildered by the twist of fate. When they finally entered the recovery room, Marcus's breath caught in his throat. Jamal lay on the hospital bed, his face pale and bandaged, but alive. The sight of his brother made the weight of the world feel a little lighter. "Jamal," Marcus whispered, stepping closer. "Hey, big bro," Jamal mumbled, his voice raspy. "I'm right here. You're going to be okay," Marcus said, trying to keep his voice steady. Jamal blinked slowly, his eyes struggling to focus. "What happened? I just remember a fight." "It's all right. You're in the hospital now. You had a rough time, but you're safe. Rachel was there, and she helped you," Marcus said, glancing back at Rachel, who stood quietly near the door. Jamal's gaze shifted to Rachel, and he squinted, trying to piece together the situation. "Rachel, From class? Yeah, Rachel said, stepping forward with a gentle smile. I'm glad you're awake. You really gave us a scare. Jamal managed a weak smile. Thanks for saving me, I guess. Just doing my job, Rachel replied, her tone light but sincere. But it's really important for you to take it easy now, all right? Rest as much as you can. Marcus watched the interaction, feeling a strange sense of camaraderie forming between the two. He couldn't help but notice how Rachel's presence seemed to ease Jamal's anxiety. You should thank her properly when you're feeling better, he said, nudging Jamal gently. I will, Jamal promised, his eyelids heavy. I just want to sleep. Go ahead, I'll be right here, Marcus said, settling into a chair beside the bed. As Jamal drifted off, Marcus caught Rachel's eye. Thank you for everything, he said earnestly, his voice low so as not to disturb Jamal. Rachel nodded, her expression softening. I was happy to help. We all need each other, especially in tough times like this. Marcus returned his gaze to his brother, feeling a wave of determination wash over him. I've got to do better for him. He needs me. You're already doing great, Rachel said, her voice encouraging. Just being here means a lot to him. As the hours passed, Marcus and Rachel began to talk more, sharing their experiences as students navigating the pressures of college life. They discovered that, despite their differences, they both faced the same relentless tide of expectations and stress. Marcus shared stories of his struggle to balance work, school, and family responsibilities, while Rachel opened up about her own burdens, her parents' expectations, her fear of failure, and her journey through mental health challenges. Sometimes it feels like I'm drowning in it all, Rachel admitted, her voice low. I don't think anyone else sees how hard it really is. I get that, Marcus replied, feeling a kinship forming. Sometimes it feels like I'm running a marathon with no finish line in sight. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of a doctor, who checked on Jamal's condition and assured Marcus that his brother was healing well. As the doctor left, Marcus turned to Rachel, feeling a strange mix of vulnerability and hope. I didn't expect to find someone who understands. It's nice to talk to you about all this. Rachel smiled softly. I think we're all just trying to find our way. Sometimes it takes a moment like this to remind us how connected we really are. As the night wore on, Marcus felt the tension in his chest begin to ease. He still had worries about school, bills, and his responsibilities, but he also felt a sense of community forming between him and Rachel. It was a connection born of shared struggles and unexpected circumstances. Eventually, Jamal stirred awake again, his eyes fluttering open. Marcus, he croaked, looking around the room. I'm right here, man. You okay? Marcus asked, leaning closer. Yeah. Just tired, Jamal said, blinking slowly. What time is it? Late, but you've got a lot of people who care about you, Marcus replied, glancing at Rachel, who offered a reassuring smile. Thanks for being here, Jamal murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. It means a lot. Always, Marcus said, his heart swelling with pride for his brother. We're going to get through this together. As they settled into a comfortable silence, Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that this night was a turning point. The unexpected meeting with Rachel had opened a door to new possibilities, a friendship that could help him navigate the complexities of their lives. In the quiet moments that followed, as Jamal drifted back to sleep, and Rachel quietly checked her phone for messages, Marcus felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, the act of kindness he had shown earlier that day would lead to something more profound than he had ever expected. But just as he allowed himself to feel a sense of peace, his phone buzzed with an incoming message. He pulled it out, his heart racing at the thought of more bad news. The message was from his mother, and as he read it, his stomach dropped. "Marcus, I just heard about the fight at school. Are you all right?" Marcus stared at the screen, his mind racing. The fight wasn't just a random event. It was part of a larger issue, a symptom of the struggles students faced daily. "Yeah, I'm fine," he typed back quickly, but the uncertainty of the situation loomed over him like a dark cloud. He looked up at Rachel, who was now watching him intently. Concern etched on her face. "Everything okay?" she asked, her voice gentle. Marcus sighed, feeling the weight of the world pressing down on him again. "Just family stuff. It's been a long night." Rachel nodded sympathetically. "If you ever need someone to talk to or just need a break, I'm here. We're all in this together, right?" "Yeah," Marcus replied, feeling the warmth of her words. "Thanks, Rachel. I really appreciate it." As the night wore on, a sense of calm settled over the hospital room. Despite the chaos of the day, despite the fears and uncertainties that lay ahead, Marcus felt a flicker of hope. Maybe they could navigate this together. Two people connected by chance, now bound by shared experiences and understanding. Little did he know, the night was far from over, and the unexpected twists of fate were just beginning to unfold. The hum of fluorescent lights filled the sterile hospital room, a constant reminder of the reality Marcus faced. He leaned back in his chair, watching Jamal sleep, his brother's chest rising and falling steadily. The earlier panic had subsided, replaced by a sense of cautious relief. But just as Marcus felt a moment of peace, his phone buzzed again. He glanced at the screen, half expecting another message from his mother, but it was a call from Steve. Sighing, he answered, trying to keep his voice steady. "Hey, man. Marcus, I just heard about your brother. Is everything okay?" Steve's voice was laced with concern. "Yeah, he's stable now," Marcus replied, glancing at Rachel, who was busy scrolling through her phone at the foot of Jamal's bed. "He had a rough night, but came through." "That's good to hear. You know, if you need anything, just let me know. You've been working hard, and I hope you're taking care of yourself too," Steve said, his tone earnest. "Thanks, I appreciate it. Just trying to keep my head above water," Marcus admitted, glancing back at Jamal. "I'll be all right." They exchanged a few more words before Marcus hung up, feeling a surge of gratitude for his friend's support. He turned back to Rachel, who had put her phone away, and was now watching him with a thoughtful expression. "Everything okay?" she asked, her voice low. "Yeah, just a friend checking in. It's good to have people who care, you know," Marcus replied, feeling a warmth spread through him. Rachel nodded, her expression softening. "Definitely. It can be tough to navigate everything alone." A silence settled between them, the weight of shared experiences hanging in the air. Marcus felt a strange sense of camaraderie with Rachel, a connection forged in the chaos of the night. "You've been really great through all this," he said, breaking the quiet. "I didn't even know you were volunteering at the hospital." "Yeah, I started a few months ago. It's hard work, but I love it," Rachel explained, her eyes lighting up with enthusiasm. "Being able to help people, especially in emergencies, makes all the stress worth it." "That's impressive," Marcus replied, genuinely impressed. "I can't even handle my coursework half the time." Rachel chuckled softly. "Trust me, I have my moments too. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, especially during finals, But it's nice to know that we can lean on each other when things get tough. Marcus nodded, appreciating her understanding. I guess we're all just trying to figure things out. It's good to have someone to talk to, especially when things get heavy. Just then, the door to the recovery room opened, and a nurse stepped in, clipboard in hand. "Good morning, everyone. How's our patient doing?" she asked brightly, her energy a stark contrast to the somber atmosphere. "Still sleeping," Marcus said, smiling at the nurse's cheerfulness. "Perfect. That means the anesthesia is working. I'll just take a look at his vitals," she said, moving to Jamal's bedside. As she checked the monitors, Rachel stepped back to give her space. "Do you know how long he'll be here?" Marcus asked, his voice tinged with concern. The nurse looked up, her expression professional but kind. "He'll likely stay for a few days as we monitor his recovery. We want to make sure he's stable before sending him home. Do you have someone who can help you care for him when he's discharged?" "Yeah, I'll handle it," Marcus said, determination flooding his voice. "He'll be okay." The nurse smiled, her eyes sparkling with encouragement. "That's what I like to hear. Family support is crucial, and remember, don't hesitate to ask for help if you need it. We're all here for you." As the nurse finished her checks and left the room, Marcus felt a surge of resolve. He would do whatever it took to support Jamal, to be the anchor his brother needed during this turbulent time. Rachel leaned against the wall, her arms folded. "You're really dedicated to him, huh?" she said softly. "Yeah, he's been through a lot," Marcus admitted, running a hand through his hair. "He's been struggling with school and fitting in, and I just want to make sure he doesn't feel alone in all this." Rachel nodded, her expression serious. "I get that. It's tough being a student and feeling the pressure to succeed. Sometimes it feels like there's no way out." Marcus glanced at her, surprised by the vulnerability in her words. "You're not wrong. I feel it every day. Between work and school, it's like I'm constantly running just to keep up." "So, what do you do to cope?" Rachel asked, genuine curiosity in her voice. "I try to focus on the little things that make me happy," Marcus replied, thinking back to the small victories, the moments he shared with Jamal, the satisfaction of completing a challenging assignment, or even the brief escape of spending time with friends. "But it's hard sometimes." Rachel's eyes softened. "I know what you mean. I think we all have our ways of coping. For me, volunteering helps. It reminds me that there's more to life than just grades and deadlines." Their conversation flowed easily, the connection between them growing stronger as they shared their struggles and aspirations. Marcus felt a sense of relief, realizing he wasn't alone in feeling overwhelmed. Rachel's honesty and encouragement felt like a lifeline, and he found himself opening up more than he had anticipated. "I've always wanted to help people, but sometimes I feel like I'm just treading water," Marcus confessed. "It's hard to see beyond the immediate challenges." "I think that's normal," Rachel reassured him. "We're all just trying to find our place in the world, and it's okay to feel lost sometimes. The important thing is that we keep moving forward." Just then, Jamal stirred in his sleep, mumbling something incoherent. Both Marcus and Rachel turned their attention to him, their conversation momentarily forgotten. "Hey, little bro," Marcus said softly, leaning closer to Jamal. "You with us?" Jamal blinked slowly, his eyes struggling to focus. "What time is it?" he mumbled again, clearly disoriented. "It's still morning," Marcus replied, smiling. "You've been out for a bit. How are you feeling?" "Like I got hit by a truck," Jamal groaned, shifting slightly in his bed. "What happened?" "You had an accident, but you're okay now," Marcus said, trying to keep his tone light. "Rachel helped you. She's been here with me." Jamal's eyes widened slightly as he turned to Rachel. "You were there?" Yeah, I was one of the first responders, Rachel said, smiling gently. You're in good hands now, Jamal. Just focus on resting, okay? Thanks, Jamal mumbled, his voice still thick with sleep. I appreciate it. As Jamal drifted back into a semi-conscious state, Marcus exchanged a glance with Rachel. They both understood how fragile the moment was, how easily it could slip away. I should let you get some rest, Jamal, Marcus said, standing up. I'll be right outside if you need anything. Okay, Jamal replied, his eyelids growing heavy again. As Marcus stepped out of the recovery room, he felt a rush of emotions. Relief, gratitude, and a renewed sense of purpose. He leaned against the wall in the hallway, taking a deep breath to steady himself. Rachel followed him out, her expression thoughtful. How are you holding up? She asked, concern etched on her features. I'm okay, just processing everything, Marcus admitted. It's a lot to take in. I can only imagine, she said, folding her arms as she leaned against the wall. You're doing a great job, though. It's not easy. Thanks, Marcus replied, appreciating her support. I just want to be there for him. He's had a rough time lately. Rachel nodded, her gaze steady. You're doing exactly what he needs. Just remember to take care of yourself, too. I will, Marcus promised, the sincerity in her voice resonating with him. I just wish there was more I could do. Sometimes just being present is enough, Rachel said, her voice soft yet firm. You're already making a difference in his life. He smiled at her, feeling a connection that he hadn't anticipated forming. You really are something else. You know that? Rachel blushed slightly, her cheeks tinged pink. I just do what I can. We all have our paths, right? Yeah, and sometimes they intersect in unexpected ways, Marcus replied, the realization settling in that meeting Rachel had changed the course of his night, and possibly his life. As they stood together in the hallway, a sense of camaraderie blossomed between them, bridging the gap between their different worlds. They were both just students trying to navigate the complexities of life, and in that moment, they found solace in each other's company. Do you want to grab some coffee or something? Marcus suggested, feeling the need for a brief escape. I could use a break. Rachel hesitated for a moment, then nodded. I'd love that. Just give me a second to check in with the nurse. As Rachel stepped away to speak with the nurse, Marcus took a moment to gather his thoughts. The hospital's sterile environment began to feel suffocating, the fluorescent lights buzzing above him. He couldn't help but think about how quickly life could change. A simple pizza delivery had led him here, where he found both worry and unexpected companionship. Rachel returned just as he was lost in thought. The nurse said Jamal is doing well, but they want to keep an eye on him for a while longer. I think we have some time before we can see him again. Good to know, Marcus replied, feeling a wave of relief wash over him. Thanks for checking. Of course, Rachel said, her eyes sparkling with kindness. So, coffee? Yeah, let's do it, Marcus agreed, grateful for the distraction. He led the way through the winding halls of the hospital, the atmosphere feeling a bit lighter now that he had someone by his side. They stepped into the hospital cafe, a small space with a few tables and a counter serving coffee and snacks. The scent of freshly brewed coffee filled the air, mingling with the faint aroma of pastries. Marcus ordered a black coffee, while Rachel opted for a caramel macchiato. As they made their way to a corner table, Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that this interaction was more than just a moment of solace. It felt like an unexpected connection that could grow into something meaningful. Thanks for being here, he said, as they settled into their seats. I didn't expect to have someone to talk to while waiting. Rachel smiled, her eyes bright. I'm glad I could be here. It's nice to connect with someone who understands what it's like to juggle everything. Right? It's like we're all running on empty, trying to keep up with school, work, and everything else, Marcus said, stirring his coffee absent-mindedly. Some days, it feels like too much. I hear you, Rachel replied, leaning forward. It's easy to feel isolated when you're caught up in your own struggles, but moments like this remind me that we're all in it together. Marcus nodded, appreciating her perspective. I've been so focused on taking care of Jamal that I've neglected my own needs. I guess I'm learning that it's okay to ask for help. It absolutely is, Rachel agreed, her voice sincere. None of us can do it alone, and you're already doing so much for Jamal. Just being there for him makes a difference. Marcus felt a warmth spread through him at her words. He had spent so much time worrying about being enough, about providing for his brother, that he had forgotten to take a moment to breathe. Thanks for reminding me of that, he said, a genuine smile breaking across his face. They shared stories over coffee. Rachel talked about her journey in medical school and the challenges she faced, while Marcus opened up about his experiences balancing work and school. The conversation flowed effortlessly, as if they had known each other for years rather than mere hours. Do you ever feel like you're just going through the motions? Rachel asked, her expression thoughtful. Like you're trying to meet everyone's expectations, but you lose sight of what you really want? Marcus pondered her question, feeling a pang of recognition. All the time. I've been so focused on making sure Jamal is okay that I haven't taken a step back to figure out what I want for myself. It's like I'm running on autopilot. Rachel nodded, a hint of empathy in her gaze. It's easy to get caught up in that cycle, but it's important to take a moment for yourself, to figure out your passions and what truly makes you happy. I guess I've been so worried about the future that I forgot to enjoy the present, Marcus admitted, feeling a sense of vulnerability wash over him. I need to start carving out time for myself, even if it's just small moments. Exactly, Rachel exclaimed, her enthusiasm infectious. Self-care isn't selfish. It's necessary. You can't pour from an empty cup. As they sipped their drinks, Marcus felt a sense of relief wash over him. The burdens he had been carrying seemed a little lighter, and for the first time in a while, he felt hopeful. Just then, his phone vibrated again, pulling him back to reality. He glanced at the screen, his heart sinking as he saw the name. His mother. "Excuse me for a second," he said, stepping away from the table to take the call. "Hey, Mom." "Marcus, I heard about Jamal. Is he okay?" His mother's voice came through, thick with concern. "He's stable now, Mom. He's recovering at the hospital," Marcus reassured her, feeling a mix of relief and frustration. "But it's been a long night." "I wish I could be there with you," she said, her voice softening. "I feel so helpless from here." "I know, but I've got it covered. I'm here for him," Marcus said, glancing back at Rachel, who was watching him with a supportive smile. "And I'm not alone. I met someone who's been a huge help." "Really? That's good to hear," his mother replied, her tone brightening. "Just make sure you're taking care of yourself too, okay?" "I will, Mom. I promise," Marcus said, feeling a warmth in his chest. He hung up, returning to Rachel, who had been patiently waiting. "Everything okay?" she asked, concern etched on her face. "Yeah, just my mom checking in. She feels bad she can't be here," Marcus explained, sitting back down. Rachel nodded, her expression sympathetic. "It's tough to be away from family during times like this, but it sounds like you're doing a great job supporting Jamal." "I'm trying," Marcus replied, a hint of uncertainty creeping into his voice. "But I can't help but wonder if I'm doing enough." "Just being there for him is a lot. You're showing him he's not alone, Rachel said, her voice steady. And that's what matters. Thanks, Rachel. It helps to have someone remind me of that, Marcus said, feeling a sense of camaraderie growing between them. As they continued their conversation, Marcus found himself opening up more than he anticipated. He shared his dreams of pursuing law after college, the challenges he faced as a black student navigating a predominantly white institution, and the pressure to succeed. Rachel listened intently, her eyes focused on him. That sounds amazing, Marcus. You have a real passion for helping others, and I think you'd be a great advocate. I hope so, Marcus said, feeling a surge of determination. It's just hard to see the path sometimes. I want to make a difference, but I often feel like I'm just surviving. Trust me, I understand that feeling, but your experiences can fuel your passion, Rachel encouraged. You have a unique perspective that can bring about change. As their drinks began to cool, Marcus felt invigorated by their discussion. He realized how much he appreciated Rachel's insights and support. They were becoming allies in their respective battles, and it felt empowering to share their struggles and aspirations. Suddenly, a commotion caught their attention. A group of students rushed into the cafe, laughing and chatting loudly. Marcus recognized a few of them from his classes, their carefree demeanor contrasting sharply with the weight of the night he had experienced. "Look who it is," one of them exclaimed, spotting Marcus. "What are you doing here, man?" "Just taking a break," Marcus replied, forcing a smile. "Come on, join us. We're heading out for a study session," another student chimed in, oblivious to the tension in the air. Marcus hesitated, glancing back at Rachel. "I don't know. I have to wait for my brother." Rachel caught his eye and smiled encouragingly. "Go ahead. I'll be right here if you need me." "Are you sure?" Marcus asked, torn between wanting to socialize and feeling the need to stay with Rachel. "Yeah, I'll be fine. Just check in on Jamal when you can," she assured him. "Okay, I'll catch up with you later," Marcus said, standing up. He felt a mix of guilt and relief as he joined his classmates, hoping to escape the heaviness of the night, even if just for a moment. As he walked away, he glanced back at Rachel, who waved him off with a smile. He joined the group, but as they laughed and joked, Marcus felt a nagging sense of disconnect. The weight of his responsibilities and worries loomed large, overshadowing the lightheartedness of the moment. Time slipped away as Marcus tried to immerse himself in the study session, but his mind kept drifting back to Jamal, to Rachel, and to the struggles they all faced. He felt caught in a tug-of-war between the need for connection and the reality of his obligations. Eventually, he excused himself and returned to the recovery room, where Jamal was still asleep. He took a seat next to his brother's bed, feeling a sense of calm wash over him. Rachel was still there, her presence a comforting reminder of the connection they had forged. "How did it go?" she asked, looking up as Marcus entered. "Fine, I guess. Just a lot of noise," Marcus replied, leaning back in his chair. "I think I need to focus on what really matters." The minutes stretched into hours as Marcus settled back into his chair beside Jamal's hospital bed. The room was quiet, except for the soft beeping of the monitors and the muffled sounds of nurses moving through the corridor. Marcus felt the weight of the night settling heavily on his shoulders once more. But he was determined to remain present for his brother. Rachel had stepped out for a moment to grab a quick bite to eat, leaving Marcus alone with his thoughts. He turned his gaze to Jamal, who was still unconscious but stable, the rise and fall of his chest reassuring. "You better wake up soon, little bro," Marcus murmured, almost as if he were trying to coax him back to consciousness. "I need you to fight through this. We're in this together." The door creaked open, and Rachel returned, holding a small sandwich and a bottle of water. She offered Marcus a warm smile as she entered. "Hope you don't mind. I wasn't sure how long you'd be here, and I thought I'd grab something quick." "Not at all," Marcus replied, grateful for her presence. "How's it going out there?" "Busy as usual," Rachel said, taking a seat next to him. She unwrapped her sandwich and took a bite, her eyes glancing at Jamal. "How's he doing?" "Still sleeping," Marcus said, trying to mask the worry in his voice. "I just wish I could do more for him." Rachel paused, her expression serious. "You're doing plenty just by being here. Sometimes, the best thing you can do is simply show up." Marcus nodded, appreciating her perspective. "I just feel so helpless. I wish I could take his pain away." "Don't we all?" Rachel said, her voice softening. "But we can't. All we can do is be there for each other and hope for the best." Their conversation was interrupted as a doctor entered the room, clipboard in hand. "Good evening, Marcus, Rachel. I hope you're both doing well." The doctor greeted them with a gentle smile. "Is Jamal okay?" Marcus asked, worry evident in his tone. "He's doing as well as can be expected," the doctor replied. "He's stable and recovering, but we'll need to monitor him for the next few days to ensure there are no complications. He's a strong kid, and I believe he'll pull through." Marcus felt a rush of relief wash over him. "Thank you, doctor. That's all I needed to hear." "Of course," the doctor said, glancing between Marcus and Rachel. "And it's great to see you both here supporting him. Family and friends are crucial at times like these." Marcus exchanged a glance with Rachel, feeling a connection that went beyond their individual struggles. "We're all in this together," he said, trying to embody the strength they both needed. After the doctor left, the atmosphere in the room shifted slightly. Rachel looked at Marcus, her eyes serious. "You know, sometimes these situations make us realize how fragile life can be. It's easy to get caught up in our own problems and forget what's truly important." "Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about that lately," Marcus admitted, running a hand through his hair. "It's like everything can change in an instant. I've been so focused on my responsibilities that I haven't taken the time to enjoy life." Rachel nodded, her expression understanding. "I get that. But it's important to find balance. We can't let our struggles consume us. We have to find moments of joy and connection, even in the darkest times." "I guess I need to work on that," Marcus said, a hint of determination in his voice. "I want to be there for Jamal, but I also need to take care of myself." Rachel smiled, a spark of encouragement in her eyes. "Exactly, and you don't have to do it alone. We can lean on each other." In that moment, Marcus felt the weight of the world lift slightly. He realized that he didn't have to carry everything on his own. He had people around him willing to help. "Thanks, Rachel. I really appreciate your support." "Anytime," she said, her voice calm and reassuring. "We all need someone to talk to." Just then, Jamal stirred slightly, his eyelids fluttering. Marcus and Rachel both leaned in closer. "Hey, buddy," Marcus said softly, his heart racing at the sight of his brother waking up. "Can you hear me?" "Yeah," Jamal mumbled, his voice hoarse. "What happened?" "You were in an accident, but you're all right now." "You're in the hospital," Marcus explained, feeling a mix of relief and concern. "I'm right here with you." Jamal blinked slowly, trying to process the information. "Is everyone okay?" "Everyone's fine, man. You just need to rest and recover," Marcus said, his voice steady. "This is Rachel. She helped you when you needed it." Jamal turned his gaze to Rachel, who smiled gently. "You did a great job fighting through this, Jamal. I'm glad to see you awake," she said, her tone warm and encouraging. "Thanks," Jamal replied, a hint of a smile breaking through. I didn't mean to worry you. It's okay. You scared us a little, but you're strong, Marcus reassured him, feeling a surge of pride for his brother. We've got this. As they settled into a comfortable silence, Marcus felt a sense of gratitude for Rachel's presence. She had become a source of support, not only for Jamal, but also for him. He realized how valuable their connection had become in such a short time. Are you hungry? Marcus asked Jamal, trying to shift the focus away from the heaviness of the situation. Starving, Jamal admitted, his eyes brightening. What's for lunch? I can check with the nurse, Rachel offered, standing up. I'll see if they have any food options available. As she left the room, Marcus turned to Jamal, feeling a mix of relief and determination. You need to eat so you can get stronger. I know you're scared, but you're going to be okay. Yeah, I know, Jamal said, his voice steadier now. It's just hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel sometimes. Marcus nodded, understanding the weight of those words. Life can be tough, but we're in this together. You and me, okay? Okay, Jamal replied, a flicker of determination in his eyes. Just then, Rachel returned with a small tray of food. Looks like they have some sandwiches and soup. I hope you're hungry, she said, placing the tray on Jamal's lap. Perfect timing, Marcus said, watching as Jamal's eyes widened at the sight of the food. I'll take whatever I can get, Jamal said, digging in with a small grin. Thanks, Rachel. Of course. Just focus on getting better, Rachel replied, her smile brightening the room. As Jamal ate, Marcus felt a sense of normalcy returning, a welcome distraction from the worries that had consumed them both. They shared light-hearted banter, and for a brief moment, the heaviness of the situation lifted. Hey, remember that time you tried to ride your bike down that huge hill? You wiped out so hard, Marcus teased, grinning at the memory. Jamal laughed, shaking his head. Yeah, I thought I was going to fly. I ended up with scrapes all over. Rachel chuckled, joining in. You should have seen it. I'm pretty sure I heard the crash from a mile away. As they shared stories, the atmosphere in the room transformed, the laughter echoing off the walls. In that moment, they were no longer just a patient, a brother, and a friend. They were three people bound by shared experiences and a commitment to support one another. But just as the laughter filled the space, a sense of unease crept back in. Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that their struggles were far from over. He knew the road ahead would be challenging, especially with Jamal's recovery and the pressure of school hanging over him. As the sun began to set outside the hospital window, casting a warm glow across the room, Marcus felt a wave of uncertainty wash over him. What happens next? He wondered aloud, glancing at Rachel. Next, we take it one day at a time, Rachel replied, her voice steady. Jamal needs to focus on healing, and you can help him with that. And when you're ready, we can talk about your plans for school and the future. Yeah, I guess that makes sense, Marcus said, feeling a renewed sense of determination. I just don't want to let anyone down. You won't, Rachel assured him. You're stronger than you think, and you've got a support system now. Lean on us when you need to. As they wrapped up their meal, Marcus felt a flicker of hope. He realized that while challenges lay ahead, he didn't have to face them alone. With Rachel's support and his brother by his side, he felt ready to tackle whatever came their way. Thanks for being here, Rachel, he said sincerely, looking her in the eye. It means more than you know. I'm glad I could help, Rachel replied, her smile genuine. We're all just trying to find our way, right? Right, Marcus agreed, feeling a sense of unity between them. And I'm grateful to have you on this journey. The night deepened around Riverside Hospital, the fluorescent lights casting a sterile glow in Jamal's recovery room. Marcus sat at his brother's bedside, listening to the rhythmic beeping of the monitors. Jamal had made significant progress, and Marcus felt a renewed sense of hope flooding through him. Rachel had left to grab some paperwork, promising to return shortly, leaving Marcus to reflect on the whirlwind of emotions they had all navigated together. Jamal finished his meal, setting the empty tray aside with a satisfied sigh. I can't believe I slept through all that, he said, the spark of his usual humor returning. Next time I plan on being the patient, I'll make sure to order something better. Marcus chuckled, feeling the tension in his chest ease. Next time you're sticking to smoothies and soup, no more high-speed bike tricks either. Deal, Jamal replied, a grin spreading across his face. But seriously, thanks for being here, Marcus. It means a lot to me. Always, Marcus said, his tone earnest. You're my brother. I'll always have your back. As Jamal rested, Marcus's thoughts drifted to the future. He knew he needed to be there for Jamal, not just in the hospital, but also as they returned to their lives outside these walls. The challenges of college, work, and family were still pressing down on him, but he felt a flicker of determination to make it all work. Rachel returned, holding a folder filled with paperwork. Hey, how's our patient? She asked, her eyes sparkling with warmth. I'm alive and kicking, Jamal declared, raising a fist in mock celebration. Glad to hear it, Rachel said, laughing as she settled into a chair beside Marcus. I brought some forms for you, Jamal, just standard stuff for your recovery plan. Great, more paperwork, just what I wanted, Jamal joked, rolling his eyes. Rachel smiled, her demeanor professional yet friendly. I promise it's not as bad as it sounds. I'll help you fill it out. As they went through the forms together, Marcus felt a sense of camaraderie growing between them. Rachel's presence had transformed the atmosphere, making the burdens they faced feel a little lighter. She was not only a friend, but also a lifeline, bridging the gap between their struggles. After finishing the paperwork, Rachel turned to Marcus. So, what's next for you? Have you thought about how you'll balance everything once Jamal is home? Marcus sighed, running a hand through his hair. Honestly, I'm not sure. I'm trying to figure out how to manage school, work, and supporting him. I don't want to fall behind, but I also don't want to neglect my own needs. Let's work on a plan together, Rachel suggested, her eyes filled with understanding. You don't have to do this alone. I can help you with study sessions, or even just be a sounding board when you need to vent. That would be amazing, Marcus replied, feeling a weight lift off his shoulders. I've been so focused on taking care of everyone else that I've forgotten to take care of myself. Jamal chimed in, his voice serious but supportive. You don't always have to be the strong one, Marcus. It's okay to lean on people. We've got each other, right? Right, Marcus confirmed, his heart swelling with gratitude for his brother's wisdom. Thanks for reminding me of that. As they sat together, the flickering hospital lights seemed to symbolize hope rather than despair. With Rachel's support and Jamal's determination to recover, Marcus began to see a clearer path ahead. He realized that while the challenges of life wouldn't disappear, they could face them together, united as a family. A nurse entered the room, checking on Jamal's vitals and making small talk. You're looking better, young man. How's the food treating you? She asked, her tone cheerful. Much better than I expected, Jamal replied, his spirits lifted by the interaction. As the nurse left, Marcus turned to Rachel, feeling a swell of gratitude. I didn't expect to find someone like you during such a tough time. You've changed everything for me and Jamal. Rachel shrugged, a modest smile on her face. I'm just doing what anyone would do. We all need a little help sometimes, especially when life gets messy. We owe you, Marcus said, sincerity etched on his face. It's been a long few days, but I feel like we're stronger now, thanks to you. Rachel's smile widened, and she leaned back in her chair, looking content. I'm glad I could help. Friends are meant to support each other, especially during tough times. As the night wore on, they shared stories, laughter, and even some tears. The bond that had formed between the three of them felt unbreakable, a testament to the power of connection in the face of adversity. Eventually, a doctor entered to check on Jamal, providing updates on his recovery and discussing the next steps. You're making great progress, Jamal. If you continue to improve, we can talk about discharge in a couple of days, the doctor said, a smile on his face. Awesome! I'll take it, Jamal exclaimed, his excitement palpable. Once the doctor left, Marcus felt a wave of relief wash over him. The uncertainty that had plagued him for so long began to dissipate. With Jamal on the mend and Rachel by their side, he felt ready to tackle whatever challenges lay ahead. As the evening came to a close, Rachel stood, stretching her arms above her head. I should probably get going soon. I have an early shift tomorrow. Thanks for everything, Rachel, Marcus said, standing up to walk her to the door. You've made a huge difference in our lives. Anytime, Marcus. I'm always just a call away if you need anything. And don't forget to take care of yourself, too, she reminded him, her eyes sincere. I won't, he replied, feeling optimistic as he watched her leave. Turning back to Jamal, he smiled. We've got this, little bro. Together, we can handle anything. Yeah, Jamal responded, his confidence shining through. I'm ready to get back to life, and I'm grateful for you, Marcus. You're the best brother. As they settled back into the routine of the hospital, Marcus felt a renewed sense of purpose. He knew that challenges would come, but with family and friends by his side, he felt ready to face whatever lay ahead. In the end, it wasn't just about the struggles they faced. It was about the connections they forged along the way. Together, they would navigate the complexities of life, finding strength in their unity. You've made it to the end. If you enjoyed this story, I am confident that you'll love the next one appearing on the screen now. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and please give this video a like. I'll see you in the next one.